Morning. Nice to meet you all here. How many from you do speak Dutch? Okay, so I will go on in English. Otherwise, yeah. So, okay. Well, just a story. My wife and I, we were going to look for a new table, a wooden table. And we were in the shop and we saw this QR code on this table. We scanned the QR code, we went to a page, and on this page there was a lot of information about the table. It had an FSC label, it has all kind of information about how to take care of the table to prolong its life, and moreover, it also had information how to take apart the table after it's been done, after some years. So this information was important for us to say, okay, we make a good decision, because this information gives us the sustainable information for this table. And it's not just about the table, it's about a lot of products which have this QR code, not now, but maybe in the future, because the new regulations, the EU regulations, they say, okay, you need to have this information on your products. So I have some questions for you. Do you consider a product sustainability information important when making a purchase? So please raise your hand when you think it's important. Not all of you, okay. And are you willing to pay a little more for a product when there is this information? Who wants to do this? Yeah, I see some doubts, okay. And, well, some people are, but are those people saying, I want to pay a little more? Who is buying from Temu or AliExpress once in a while? Yeah, it's more people, I think. So there's the squeeze you have. Is it important to have this information for buying a product or not? And I think when you buy from AliExpress or Temu, it's mostly low-value products, so it's not that important for you as a customer, but maybe for the environment it is. It also gives you the insight that it's a European thing, but not really. I mean, it has worldwide consequences when Europe says you need to have this information on your product. So, digital product passport. I say not a headache, but an opportunity. A headache, it can be because you need to capture a lot of information. So for a brand or a manufacturer, it might be a headache, but it's also an opportunity. I'll come to this later. So what I will do, I'll have a little introduction about BIM vendors. You also find a book on the table which we published this year. What needs to be done in the sense of DPP and the opportunities. So with BIM vendors, we help customers find a solution to their product data challenges, and independently. We are here at Dynamic Web Summit. We already have a long relation with Dynamic Web, but we also have a long relation with other BIM solutions. So we're looking at companies, we're talking with companies and saying, okay, this will fit the best for your case. It's not just about another PIM. No, there are a lot of PIM solutions, and these PIM solutions, they have all different kind of characteristics. Some of them are more e-commerce related, others are more print related. Some is for the enterprise market, some are for the really entry market. So there's quite a lot of differences. We represent about 40-50 PIM solutions, which we know. We don't do the implementation because that's other guys doing, and it's very specialized. We know what a PIM solution can do and what it cannot do. But there are 250 PIM solutions or more out in the world. Where do you start as a retailer or as a wholesaler? Where do you start? Okay, you can start with dynamic web, but is this the best solution? In some cases it is, but not always. So that's where we come in and help companies to make a choice. Once we've done that, we hand it over to the implementation partner, because that's not our thing. We do just the advice. We can do also some help in the organization later on during implementation to get the organization aligned to give the right information for the implementation partner, because that's also sometimes a struggle. We've done this with multiple customers, let's say 80% Benelux, but also outside of Benelux. And who are we? That's Stefan, back in the hall, and me. And we have some people working for us in specific fields when it's when we need GS1 knowledge or when we need other kind of knowledge. We connect with our network. Already mentioned in the introduction, it's the Green Deal. The plan by 2030 reduce CO2 emission by more than half compared to 1990 levels. Well, 55% to be honest. But is this something which is achievable? Well, I don't know. We have to set some goals. The other one is by 2050 make Europe the first climate neutral continent. It's something, but it's something which we decided all together in the European Union. It's not something, well, at least in the Netherlands we hear a lot of things. It's coming from Brussels. Well, actually it's us. It's all of us who set these goals. And it's a challenge. It's a challenge. So, how did it all start? In 2015, the United Nations, they adopted Sustainable Development Goals, 17 goals. I will go into some of them, not all of them, later on. Leading to 2022, the Eco-Design for Sustainable Product Regulations. Well, there are a lot of abbreviations going back and forth, but this one, I think ESPR is an important one, which comes back every time. And it says, okay, we need to have this goal reached in 2050. 2050, it's a long time. I think we'll have some summits before reaching 2050, I think. In 2023, this was adopted officially, and now we are in the implementation phase. I will show later that, okay, we are defining a lot of things within this, but we're not there yet. There is still a lot of question marks along the way. So the one thing which is certain, it's going to change. Change is the thing. We have regulations, but it's going to change along the way. Okay. These are these 17 rules. No poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation, infrastructure, reduce inequalities, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice and strong institutions, partnership for the goals. Okay, that's the quick one. Please repeat. You know, there's a lot of theory and a lot of thoughts behind all this, and of course, where we are here for, digital product passports, hooks in on 4 of them. Those 4 are important for the digital product passport, which we are here for. The goal of Sustainable Development Goal industry, innovation and infrastructure is to help make factories more environmental friendly, and promote new innovative ideas. It ensures that the products are produced in a way that it's super eco-friendly, reducing their negative impact on the environment. This supports a sustainable future for everyone. So remember this one. The next one, responsible consumption and production is about using and making things in a way that doesn't hurt the planet. It means we can get clear info on how things are made. Going back to this table where it's made by in a factory with workers who are treated well, etc., these kind of things. But also recycled. We know how things need to be recycled and which components are made, a product is made of, so we can recycle things in a better way. I heard the digital twin mentioned before. Actually, we have this table. It's made of wood, it's made of metal, it's made of all kind of things, and maybe some electronic equipment. How does it fit together, and how can we recycle things in the end? So that alone helps the world to keep cleaner and healthier for everyone, because things can be reused. Climate action, well, it's about helping the earth stay healthy. That's the general idea. We use materials that are good for the planet. I'll have an example later on. Make sure that the products we use don't cause too much pollution, and consider how far these products travel. Can we get this from our own environment, or are we getting products from all over the world, maybe with an alternative nearby? So we must make smart choices to keep air, water, and land clean and reduce the pollution. Life on land is all about taking care of forests and stopping deserts from getting bigger. I mean, that's one thing. How do we exploit the world? We need the planet, the world, to get our resources from. So we have to take care of the environment. So to make this work, these 4 simple guidelines, they need to be translated to an actionable plan. Therefore, a lot of organizations and people need to start moving in the right direction, and we need to work together. The typical value chain for a product starts with the conception of a product, with a brand, then going to be produced with a manufacturer, sold via wholesaler and retailer to the consumer. So this we must keep in mind. We'll come back to this all the time. So maybe, I hope you still don't have a headache about this DPP yet, but how are we going to fix all this? So we have internal stakeholders, and we're talking about the company, and we have external stakeholders. They all need to be aligned to reach this common goal. So this common goal is by 2050, make Europe the first climate neutral continent. So first, let's dive into the internal stakeholders of a company dealing with product data. So first and foremost, we need commitment from management. If we don't have this commitment, it's going to be a tough journey, because it's really important. We have this, everyone in the company has this in mind, but when the management is not supporting this, it's a no-go area, I think. But we need a team as well. How does this team look like? Well, of course, the management which is responsible for strategy, vision, mission, capacity, but also resources. Compliance and legal, who's responsible for the compliance rules with and monitoring ESPR guidelines. We need design and product management, responsible for the design for life extension and recycling and design production process. IT, which is responsible for the architecture of data systems. We need to capture these data and connections to the international standards. Quality, well, making ESPR data available and managing it. Sales and marketing, well, that's an important one. Identifying new business opportunities. Communication, reputation, that's a very important one. When you have an organization which works sustainable, well, you can make it your advantage. Purchasing and supply chain. Assess suppliers. Well, which suppliers are you working with? You can make a difference on this. But then we have the external stakeholders. They're actually a little more difficult to manage because you don't have it in your own hands. But also here, we have to, in mind, our common goal. By 2050, make Europe the first climate neutral continent. And we're talking about Europe, but we also have suppliers from outside of Europe. So it's not simple a European thing. It's a thing for the whole world. So we have the supplier in the supply chain who have to provide, next to the data, next to the product, of course, the data and certificates. Because I can give you data as much as I want, but if it's not valid, and how green do you want something to have? Light green, dark green? Okay, I'll give you some information, but we need to know that the information is correct and it has a certificate. So we need also the authorities and government. They set the rules, but also they have control on certain aspects in the supply chain. And then we have the solution providers. There are organizations who provide these DPP solutions, where you can put in your products and you have some validation, and when you scan this QR code, they will show you the page with the product and the information. You have also product information management solutions, which at first need to capture all this information. But also, as a retailer, you can do two things. You can say, okay, I have this QR code, please, customer, go to this page, fine. But you also can capture this information and use this information for your own benefit, to promote your company, to promote sustainable products. So you have to capture this information. Then the consumer is also a stakeholder, external stakeholder. Because when nobody knows about this, it's no use of providing all this information and capturing all this information. So we have to educate the consumer as well. Standardization organization, so we have to keep track on the right information. Consultancy, well, that's what we are doing. Trade association, well, what we see is that a lot of retailers, wholesalers, they're also looking into this black hole. What do we need to do? So these trade organizations, they're responsible also for educating their members. Well, and then we have, of course, the second, or the marketplaces, the second-hand marketplaces, the repair and refurbishing parties, the collectors and sorters, because we have all this information now about if a product can be refurbished or can be recycled. So all these stakeholders must be informed and must know about what to do. And all of them, they have their own needs. So it's quite a bit of information you need to provide. And are we there? No, we're not there because it's a long way. So then we have some building blocks. We start with the product. And these products, we need to master the data, the name, dimensions, materials, all this kind of thing. And we need to have a certificate of origin, what I mentioned before. Because when you don't have a certificate, this information has no value. We need to have the instructions of use. How do we handle a product? We can, when you buy a shirt, you have the washing instructions. When you buy another product, there are instructions of how to use a product. We need to have this somewhere. Sustainability data. Where do we get this? Recycling information. Some information we already have in-house. Other information we can get through links from other sources. These are the sources I mentioned at the bottom. There are all kinds of information sources like certificates, instructions. Well, the master data, probably you get it from actually the conception of a product goes through the whole value chain to the end. What we've seen recently is that there are constructed all kinds of data spaces. Data spaces are collections of data gathering from a specific industry, and there is a lot going on in this market. I will show you a slide later on. So we're talking about products. What do we need to capture from a product? Well, there are some must-haves and there are some nice-to-haves. And is this set in stone? No, it's not. It's not set in stone because the situation is still changing. We have this general idea of the regulation. And first, we start with the batteries, then we go to fashion, and it's still under construction. But these things are more or less certain that we need to capture this information. So we have, of course, we have to have an identification of a product. Obvious. But there are still a lot of products when you go to a store which don't have an ID or so. How can we manage this? Well, traceability of information is also important, but it needs to be through the whole value chain. So you need to capture this information from start to finish. And this information, actually, it must not be changeable, because when someone in the value chain changes some information, yeah, fine. So this information must be kept in a place where you are sure that the information you gather is there. So in blockchain or other kind of places, you capture this information. When there is a change, there's going to be a new entry in the blockchain. So this also means something in your production process, because you have a new QR code for this. So when you are making, in fashion, when you're making a batch of products, there's a QR code in there saying these are the things which happened in the value chain. But when you change something, there's going to be a new QR code, so a new entry in the blockchain. So that's important to know. Then we have the nice-to-haves. Well, some of you might say, well, packaging material, that's not a nice-to-have, it's a must-have. Well, for now, it's still a nice-to-have. It's not defined as being a must-have. And I should say some of them, they will be mandatory in future, but not for now at this moment. So there are many PIM solutions in the market. And that's where we, as PIM vendors, come in. And Dynamic Web is one of the solutions which are fully aware of the task at hand. We've seen this in the introduction. You're working on this topic, and I'm talking to other PIM solutions, and they're all struggling. What do we need to do? And why are they struggling? Because it's not set in stone yet. It's changing. So we must be able to provide the structures where we can apply these changes easily. And also in the value chain, everybody needs different information or can provide different information. In the end, the consumer needs to have it all. Everything comes together with the consumer. Well, what I said, there are companies which provide solutions where you can capture your product. A DPP page document, they must be put in an environment which cannot be manipulated once it has been captured and validated. So the consumer must be sure that the information is correct and doesn't change over time. And there are several companies providing these facilities. Atma is one of them. They're capturing this like Aura Blockchain Consortium. Well, the name blockchain is in there, but they also provide this information. Protocol is a big one. Luxury goods supply giving also in the gaming world, because there it's also important. Circularize, a Dutch company. You will all get this this presentation later, so you can read it later. And Tamira, and there are many more, which all give this kind of services. And you need, as a brand or a manufacturer, you need to have this. You need to sign up for this. You have to pay some money, of course. It's not for free, and you have to register your products. And then you have the data spaces. They are decentralized infrastructures where diverse actors can securely share and use data initiated by policymakers, industry stakeholders, or organizations. So there's this commercial parts, which I showed earlier, and you have the data spaces. And data spaces allow manufacturers, retailers, and wholesalers to access and share critical product data, ensuring products comply with regulations, improving resource efficiency, and supporting circular economy practices. It's about collaboration. The whole network gets involved and keep products sustainable and transparent. So everyone along the way benefits from this work. There are some of them. I put a link in there. It's a market which is growing, and you'll see here, these are the parties who can scale. So there's no data space at this moment who really is in this state. So they all have to grow towards the center so they can grow and they can scale. So until now, it seems that there is a lot of work to do. And the question is the glass half full or half empty? Because you can look at it at several perspectives. I say see the opportunity, not the burden. Looking at the brands, so a better reputation is an important driver. One of the brands which does this very well, I think, is Patagonia. The fashion, who knows Patagonia? Yeah. So it's well known. It's a well-known brand, and they use sustainable materials, and they're doing it quite well. And IKEA, for instance, also a company which is very well known all over Europe, I think. They are selling they're taking their furniture back if you used it before, and then you can they can resell it, or they can deconstruct the stuff. So it's not everywhere. They're just with a few stores starting this experiment. But it's interesting to see that mainly though the big brands are investing in this thing. The manufacturers, well, for instance, the car manufacturer, they use DPP to trace the origins of materials, ensuring ethical sourcing and reducing supply chain disruptions. Audi and other car companies work together to develop the battery paths, in which they capture all kind of information about the production process of the EV car batteries. And the batteries will be the first part to be mandatory, and it starts in 2027. Originally, it started 2025, but timelines are moving because everybody sees the timelines are too tight. The companies cannot take this pace, and so they need to slow down a little bit. Well, there's another interesting thing. Just 2 days ago, in the Netherlands, there is developed a company developed the plastic not coming from oil, but from potatoes, and so it's recycle. You can recycle the packages. And Albert Heijn, which is one of the biggest stores, grocery stores in the Netherlands, is starting to use this now for some product lines. So also there you see that companies are innovative with this idea, trying to be the first one in the market to market themselves as being a sustainable company. Of course, they are not sustainable, but at least they are starting and trying to. A wholesaler secures a steady supply of recycling materials, reducing costs and dependency on raw material markets. So Best Buy, they profit from DPP information in the second-hand market by ensuring the authenticity and quality of the pre-owned electronics. For example, by using DPP data, Best Buy can verify the origin and condition of used devices, providing customers with reliable and sustainable options. So all kinds of initiatives in the market. And as a retailer, of course, you can promote its eco-friendly products, drawing in environmentally conscious shoppers. Earthkind is a multi-brand platform offering a one-stop destination for more sustainably and ethically made clothing and accessories. So, and there are many more initiatives going on there, like John Lewis, also a UK brand, who provides information on how to maintain a product and how to service a product during its lifetime. And it all comes down to the customer. A customer buys durable appliance with a long lifespan. So a long lifespan means maybe I pay a little more, but I'm saving money over time. And for some customers, okay, they see this idea Others just even cannot afford it. I mean, let's be honest. Not everybody has the same possibilities in this. But when I compare it to 5 years ago, nobody was talking about this kind of things, or very few people. But now much more people are talking about this topic. So it takes a lot of time to get between the ears this idea. So the perspective, how to look at the product, surely will change the market. Slowly, maybe, but it will change the market. The way consumer thinks about the environment will change the way a product is produced. And then we come to this art strategy. And this art strategy says, okay, when we are designing a product, so really at the beginning, we have to refuse avoiding the use of non-recyclable materials. We have to rethink how we design things. We have to reduce the use of materials and energy in the production. We have to repair things if possible. We have to refurbish things, remanufacturing, recycle, recover. This is a very strong list of items which is getting more and more traction in the industry. So we have to keep in mind this goal by 2050, make Europe the first climate neutral continent. That's where it all starts. So, are we there already? No. A lot has to be done before reaching this goal. But slowly we are getting there. When you see this is from the Boston Consulting Group. They're publishing some interesting reports on this. And there are 8 topics. We have questions and the degree of maturity. Well, you see a lot of things which are not yet mature. And the degree of maturity in the EU battery regulation, which is the first one. There are some very open spaces. Where do we store the data, for instance? It's a lot of work to be done. But I think it's worth it. So what's clear is we need to act now. So there's a lot of opportunities also in the PIM space for companies who are not having this information in the right place. You can have information in spreadsheets, but it's not going to work. I don't have to tell you, because that's your business as well. So the regulation says that starting in 2026, e-commerce businesses in the EU will have to provide the DPP to their customers. So I should say, move on and do it. Thank you very much.